Hi, this is Tim Bost here, and the video that you're about to watch has a lot to be desired. When it was first made, the audio quality is kind of bad. It's fuzzy in a few places and distorted, and there's some mistakes in the presentation itself. But I wanted to share it with you today because it shows the way things happen in the real world with astro trading, how we go about doing real-time planetary line analysis to determine the planetary price lines that work with something that we're considering trading. So take a look. I hope you enjoy it, and please forgive the fuzzy sound, and just pay attention to what it shares, and hope you find it useful. Thanks. This is Tim Bost with FinancialCyclesWeekly.com, and wanted to take a minute today to look at some planetary price lines and how they function. What we're doing is exploring, for the first time here, a chart for the Dow Jones U.S. Real Estate Average, symbol DJUSRE for Dow Jones U.S. Real Estate. And what we're looking at is a chart here with some daily price bars for this index going back to December of 06, and we're recording this in mid-October of 2011. So we've got almost 5 years of trading history here squeezed into the chart with the daily bars to try to get a sense of when some of the major highs and lows have been with this index. Now, this is a fairly new index. As history goes, it was first computed in 2000, year 2000. We've had CBOT options traded on it since 2004, so it's a tradable instrument. But what we're interested in doing here is looking at this time frame to see what we can find out in terms of planetary support and resistance, and see if that functions at all with this stock, and then along the way give you an idea of how we go about this process of working with the planetary price lines. So what we're going to do is, we've pulled up the chart, by the way, on the Fibonacci Galactic Trader software, which gives us a good trading platform to work with. We have a lot of standard technical indicators, some proprietary technical indicators built into the software as well, but of course it will also handle some very versatile astrological functions and integrate them with the technical indicators, which is one of the reasons we like to work with this particular program and working on our planetary price lines especially. So let's take a look with this software. We're interested in checking out a couple of indicators here. We're going to take this high over here and first of all see if we can hit the price bar and get an idea what the date is that we're working with. This is actually February 8th, 2007. We had a high then. As we look at that, that was right on the 8th, 7th or 8th, somewhere in there. Let's see, the 7th we had a intraday high of 370.65, and then up to 371.02. So the high was on the 8th of February 2007, looking at that. So what we're going to do here is click on that area and see what was going on astrologically. On the 8th, we see geocentrically a Sun-Neptune conjunction. What we'd like to do is look on either side of this, a day or two to see what else was going on. The day before, we had a Venus-Uranus conjunction, a very powerful dynamic there as well. As I say, Sun-Neptune conjunction at that point. And then the following day, Venus squared Jupiter. These are some of the dynamics there. Heliocentrically, on that day, we had an Earth-Venus trine, Venus sextile Neptune, Earth-Neptune opposition. That would be in keeping with the geocentric Sun-Neptune conjunction then. And the day prior to that, Mercury-Jupiter opposition. A day afterwards, Venus trine Saturn. There's some pretty clear action going on here with Venus, the Sun, and some of the outer planets around this time frame. So what we're going to do is start then and with some Venus price lines, since we've seen that in play. And we simply select the planetary line area here on the program. We're going to bring up a Venus price line. And in this case, we were looking at it geocentrically rather than heliocentrically, so we'll toggle the H over to a G for geocentric. We're typically like to look at this in a pretty broad framework, so we're going to enter in 360 first. That gives us 360 degrees, or actually the first harmonic. 360 is equal to 0 degrees there. We note over here on the right that we've got a trading price range of from the mid 100s up to 350, 60 or so. So we won't factor this to start with. We'll see what the line looks like here. We're going to make it a little thicker, just so we can see it. And we'll stick with this green color for the Venus line and take a look at that. We may want to mirror the line. We'll leave it unmirrored for right now. We'll simply exit this, and it will bring up the price lines. Now, this doesn't give us a whole lot of information because we're still in that main harmonic, in that first harmonic. What we're seeing here are these vertical lines where the Venus over this period of time will hit the 0 degrees of the cardinal points, and then the trending lines like this. And so we'll go back in here and we'll modify this price line a little bit. We're going to, we'll knock it down to 180 at this point, and we'll try mirroring the lines. And I'm going to add a -1 factor just to see what that looks like. Well, we got a bunch of lines there, so we can pretty much clearly define a price trend at that point. We notice here with this that the heavier lines are the first harmonic, and then in between these would be the second harmonic lines. We change this to 180, so it's now a second harmonic projection as well. The mirrored lines simply go with our price trend a little bit better here. Of course, we have an uptrend at this point, and we'll just toggle it back to unmirrored. Take a look at that. No there. And as you can see, it follows that trend pretty well as well. In fact, I think we'll leave this unmirrored. That I think gives us some useful information to work with. Now, with the Venus lines, what we've done is add this -1 factor, so we're getting 10 times as many lines. It's simply a projection of that by moving the decimal point so that we get a few more lines on the screen. And it helps us coincide with the price range a little bit better. And it gives us a lot of potential price points to work with as we look at the chart. It's kind of busy here. Of course, we're trying to get a broad picture to start with this. So we'll leave these Venus lines in place at this point. This gives us some useful information for longer term trends. What we may want to do here is, let's see, we've got the 0 there. Let's take back at the 0, take a look at that and see what this does. I think that will make it more vertical. That's really what we were just looking at a moment ago there. So I think we need that -1 factor in there to get it to coincide to our trading range a little bit. Now, we noticed that we had some other planetary harmonics coming in, some other planets involved. We're back over here on the upper left-hand corner. We're seeing this price area here, and noticing that the line doesn't coincide with it exactly. Over here, we find some clearer support for the trend with the first harmonic Venus line. And certainly over the long term, as we look at the broader range of the prices, Venus is working pretty well to help us define the price interaction. So the question is then, at what point does this become significant for us? We won't always find the turning points exactly on the price line, although we may want to use a little different harmonic. Let's try, for example, a third harmonic, and we'll use a 120 here instead of the 180. 180 divides the circle by 2, so it's a second harmonic. The 120 divides it by 3, and so we'll note here as we click this that we'll get the heavy lines remaining the same, and what we've done is added 2 little skinnier lines in between. And when we do this, all of a sudden we see everything popping into focus very, very sharply here. Virtually every turning point of some significance comes on one of these Venus lines, so that throughout the chart we get some strong levels of correspondence there. So third harmonic Venus is working very, very well with the U.S. Real estate market. Now, let's pick a different turning point here. We had this low in early March. Let's see, that would be March 6, 2009 was the exact low there when at 80.77. It didn't form a correct low right on the price line there, but let's take a look at what was going on astrologically in connection with Venus around that time. We said it came on March 6th, so on the 6th itself, well, this was a Venus retrograde station. Very significant time for Venus. That doesn't happen every year, so we get a Venus retrograde period beginning at that point. So certainly that coordinates here. Mercury conjunct Neptune the day before. No geocentric aspects the day after. Mars-Neptune conjunction going to the next week. So, around this period of time, that Sun semi-sextile Venus is interesting. And there was a little bit of Uranus action there as well. Heliocentrically, we have Mercury-Mars, Venus trine Pluto heliocentrically. That's very intriguing here at 120, and a Mars-Jupiter conjunction. That Venus-Pluto trine, heliocentrically, where do we find that? The day prior to that low is an interesting factor there. So what we'll do here is we'll go up to the planetary price lines. Again, we're going to bring up a Pluto line in this case. Let's see if we can find Pluto here. Okay. And with Pluto, first thing I want to do is change the color here because I want it to contrast very sharply with the Venus line. The program comes with different colors pre-formatted. We're going to use kind of a hot pink here just to, that should give us a good color to work with there, just so that we can see it a little bit better on our chart. We'll also make that a little bit thicker with the Pluto line. Now, with this, we found an interesting connection with Venus-Pluto. We're going to go ahead and set this geocentrically on the same calibration that we had for the Venus line, just to see what this looks like. As you can see, there's a little bit of trial and error involved in this process, but we'd like to be able to walk you through that. Now, this looks, horribly busy. We've got a lot of stuff going on here, but clearly what we can see here is that our pink lines now are defining some support and resistance zones, whereas our green lines, the Venus lines, are defining some of the stronger trends for this index. So, I'm content with these particular planetary price lines. When we look at this scale of a chart, obviously it's not going to give us real tradable information, but all we have to do is start reducing the number of price bars that we have on our screen. So what we'll do is cut back a little bit here. Let's drag these guys in so they stay close to our trading range there. Okay. Don't lose our labels along the way. Okay, here we go. And now, as you can see, as we zoom in here and get a little more limited time frame, we're seeing a little different kind of picture. Let's juggle our labels around a little bit. And in this case, we'll go ahead and thicken up the width of the bars so we can see those a little bit better also. And let's see what's going on with this. Now, these are the same planetary price lines that we put up as we get into a shorter-term trading area here. This is about a 2-month trading range or so. I'm sorry, this goes back to August of 2010, about a 14-month trading range that we're looking at. So we still have plenty of price bars. This is a good chart to work with. We like to work with the longer term first. I should have mentioned at the outset here that we will typically start with a weekly price bar chart. In this case, we stuck with daily bars simply because we have a limited amount of trading history for the stock, or for the index. We're going back about 11 years is all. So in this case, then, what we've got is the price bars coincide. Let's go ahead and we will show just a few less bars here. Oops, we lost our label there again. Let's bang these guys around. Okay. As you can see, there's a lot to play with this stuff here. Okay, I think this is probably a good indicator here because we can see now a little bit more clearly. Okay, here is our Dow Jones U.S. Real Estate Index, and we will pick up the price bars a little bit more there, so we can get a picture now of what's going on with the Venus and Pluto lines. In this case, the pink lines are the Pluto lines, the green lines are the Venus lines, and we get a sense of how a trend is defined with all of this. Now, as you note here, we'll take this very thick Pluto line cutting through the middle of the thick pink line here. This is a first harmonic Pluto line. These become very, very important here. And we're dealing with both of these in the third harmonic. So these are 120 degrees apart, and in this case, 120 points apart in the chart. And so you can see here that the Pluto line over on the left side provided some support here, and the the price began to move upward on that basis. More significantly, it began to define resistance here back at the end of April, 1st of May of 2011. It began to trade really in a channel of the Pluto lines for a little while there. You dropped a bit below that, tried to break out above that first harmonic Pluto line again. Unsuccessfully, we had this double top here forming in July of 2011, right on that first harmonic Pluto line. So regardless of how we divide it up in between, geocentrically, that first harmonic Pluto line becomes very, very important for the real estate index. In addition, we've seen longer term how the Venus lines work. When we look at the third harmonic Venus lines, we can see over here this price channel defined very, very neatly by the Venus lines. It created a trend, and the price moved up and down within that channel, broke out a bit to the downside, tested the Pluto line, came back up, and this was a very, very significant break here when it broke past the first harmonic Venus line. This was kind of a buffer zone or insurance zone for this. Even though this was not a violation of previous lows by standard technical analysis, we could tell at this point that this would be a very significant move downward as we broke through that first harmonic Venus line to the downside. We moved through the third harmonic line, the other third harmonic line, all the way down to the next level. We got a couple of days of trading there that just tried to work a little bit below the next increment of the first harmonic Venus line, and in fact we had the first day's close there, second day tested it again, closed higher than that, and then at that point, interestingly enough, the first harmonic Pluto line became support or resistance rather, temporarily. It later turned into support as it tried to reestablish a channel. At this point, it is broken below the first harmonic Pluto line and below the first harmonic Venus line. So what we're seeing at this juncture then is resistance being formed again on a first harmonic Venus line, and that has been challenged. Unless we can significantly break above that, then we don't have a hope of challenging this Pluto line here. Now, with this chart, let's see if we can drag it a little bit farther to the right there. We notice that these lines are going to come together here at some point in the future. It looks like it'll be in early December of this year. We'll be looking for an alignment between Venus and Pluto at that point. These are geocentric lines. We can, let's go ahead and pull up this chart here. In fact, let's see if we can find December, and we'll take a look. I'm going to estimate around the 9th of December. Let's see, geocentrically, we'll just kind of play with it and see if we can spot that. I've not looked this up beforehand. This is all seat of the pants stuff here as we examine things, because I wanted you to see how this works in the real world in terms of the application. We don't always have things smoothly defined in advance. A Venus square Saturn, a Venus, okay, let's see, Venus square Jupiter, Uranus. Maybe I got too far into December. Let's cut back here. I want to see some significant arrangement between Venus and Pluto here. Okay. There we go. I'm sorry. The 1st of December. Okay, that is early in December. That's why I was missing it. It is, in fact, a Venus-Pluto conjunction that occurs the 1st of December, and that is going to be a very significant time for us to be taking a look at the real estate market at that point. So this is going to be our first real flag there. We'll be watching the Venus line and as potential resistance to that point, and here we can use the price line here to take a look at what that price would be there. So somewhere we're going to say 207, 208, 207.98. We're going to round it off to 208 as a critical area for us to be looking at on the 1st of December for a potential price point for this index. So that's how we look at an index or a stock for that matter and apply some planetary price lines. You'll find explanation of how the price lines are derived and how there's a correlation between planetary prices and points in the zodiac with the little book on Gann Secrets Revealed, and that's volume 1. Has some good explanation on all of that. So I hope you found all that useful in spite of the muddled audio all the way through. And if you find this information on planetary price lines at all interesting, then you might want to take a look at the special program on profitable trading with planetary timing. It's got lots of solid information on planetary price lines, the W.D. Gann Wheel of 24 Universal Clock, astrological time bands, the power of planetary harmonics, and a whole lot more that I think you'll find useful. So take a look at that at planetarytiming.com. Thanks so much for watching.